Hey guys, Michael here. I want to give you a review of the new iPhone 6s. Now, there's a lot of new specs under the hood that we can talk about. I kind of want to just give you my opinions on it, some pros and cons if you will, and then look at if you should upgrade from previous hardware. So, the 6s is a very similarly designed phone to the iPhone 6. Notable features include the new A9 processor, which makes it faster, at least on paper. I personally haven't noticed significant differences in terms of my normal day-to-day activities, phone calls, text messages, social networking, etc. But on paper it is faster, so if you're playing certain games or intensive apps, you're going to get slightly better performance on the iPhone 6s. The other thing that I've noticed that is significant though, the Touch ID sensor that's on the iPhone 6s is a second gen Touch ID unit, and it's significantly faster. Definitely much improved, both in terms of performance, speed, as well as just consistency in terms of when it's working. Another new feature is live photos. Basically what this does is it merges a short video clip with a static image together. It makes a live photo. Personally, I think this is gimmicky. I don't really see myself using it. I have read though that not only is this feature turned on by default, but by turning it off manually, you might actually get better camera performance. So that might be something to keep in mind. In terms of other cameras though, the FaceTime camera on the front is now a FaceTime HD 5 megapixel front facing camera, and the screen itself will flash to get you to make pictures a little bit better in terms of taking selfies in low light. The rear camera is also improved. It's now up to 12 megapixels, and it also captures 4K video at 30 frames per second. In fact, the video you're watching now is captured on an iPhone 6s 4K at 30 frames per second. The other major new feature on the iPhone 6s is 3D Touch. Basically, what that means is that the screen is pressure sensitive, so when you click down on it, it actually responds to the pressure. The biggest feature so far that's built into the operating system is peek and pop. Basically, if I'm looking at a text message or an email, I can press down on the screen, it pops up the text or email in a preview-esque window, and if I press again, it pops it into full screen and that application opens. It's actually very convenient and handy. It'll be even more convenient once third parties take advantage of the APIs and you have more shortcuts. Those are kind of the pros. Just overall, this is the best iPhone and the best smartphone I've ever used. So the cons are kind of nitpicking a little bit, but I think that this is an extremely solid phone. Like I said, the best phone that I've ever used. And although I'm been using iPhones several times, I've also used Android phones and Windows phones in the past, and definitively this is the best phone. But in terms of cons, the design is very similar. The only problem is the iPhone 6s is slightly heavier. I definitely notice the difference when I hold them next to each other. I don't think the iPhone 6s is heavy necessarily, but when you hold it next to an iPhone 6, you definitely can feel the difference. It's also very slightly thicker. So some iPhone 6 cases, although the design looks exactly the same, will not actually work with the iPhone 6s. You'll have to check to see. So that could be a problem. The other kind of annoying thing is, like I said, it's slightly thicker. The battery life, although fantastic and lasts a full day like you'd expect any smartphone, the battery in the iPhone 6s is actually slightly smaller than the battery in the 6. Now, there are improved internals that make it more battery efficient, but I would think that if you're making it slightly thicker and heavier anyway, why not make it even slightly thicker, improve the battery, and get rid of the camera hump that's on the iPhone 6 and 6s. But like I said, those are just nitpicking comments. I think this is the best smartphone I've ever used, and it's certainly a great product. Now, with that said, should you upgrade? I think if you're coming from an iPhone 6, it's really not worth it. Slight performance gains, again on paper, it's a significant improvement, but in terms of day-to-day activities, I really haven't noticed anything. Slightly better video recording. These things are all incremental and significant, and I think 3D Touch in particular has a pretty significant future, but I think that if you're coming from an iPhone 6, it's not necessarily worth the upgrade. If you're coming from an iPhone 5s, if you want the bigger screen, definitely go with the 6s over the 6. There's significant improvements, and it's just going to last longer because it's using a next generation processor. But if you're comfortable with that smaller screen size, you might want to stick with your 5s for now. When Apple announced the new 6s and 6s Plus, they didn't announce the 6C, which supposedly will be in the same form factor, that 4-inch form factor, but with updated internal components. But I think at some point, to have a more diversified product line, they will upgrade the 4-inch device. Maybe next cycle. There are rumors that early next year. I don't know about that, but if you're with an iPhone 5S and you like that smaller size, I would wait because I think something better for your screen size is coming. If you're using an older iPhone before the 5S, the 6S is a significant upgrade if you don't mind the slightly bigger size with the 4.7-inch display. But otherwise, like I said, the 6S is a fantastic phone. You'll enjoy using it. It's been a pleasure to use so far, and it's a very worthy upgrade if you're coming from older hardware. Thanks for watching, guys.